And welcome to another edition of East LA Sports Scene as we continue with our coverage of sports that are very, very important, not only to our educational institutions, but to our community, and of course to the student athletes that are participants in those programs, and of course their coaches. And sitting with me right now for the very first time here on East LA Sports Scene is Coach Louis Ramirez Jr., the head cross-country coach and the track and field coach at East LA Community College. Coach, how are you?
Fine, Rico. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, and thank you for coming in, because this is a sport that we want to really pull the curtain open so our viewers can understand more about this sport and some of the achievements, some of the student athletes currently that are under your mentorship. We're going to talk to a state champion on our next segment. And so you have to be very happy, very proud of the accomplishments that you have this past season in cross country. But we're also going to talk about track and field and then meet also Laura Aceves, who is the state champion from ELAC. And I know that's going to bring a big smile to your face, and very proud of the accomplishments. But Coach, let's start with you, because you are the coach, and you got that position because of some very, very strong connections. And let's start from the beginning.
Well, I was very fortunate. I attended East LA College in the 70s, and Mr. Goldman was our instructor for Introduction to Kinesiology, or at that time it was physical education.
Okay.
And he gave us a lecture, and from that point I knew I wanted to teach at East Los Angeles College.
Okay.
And I wanted to coach at East Los Angeles College. And part of that also is from my family history. My uncle was a treasurer for the Letterman's Club at East Los Angeles College in 1946. Oof. And I didn't find this out until recently. I knew he ran for the team, and I knew he played on the football team as a quarterback.
Okay.
On the football team, he was 5'7" and 120 pounds. So it's amazing.
Wow. Now, also, while you were at East LA College as a Husky, you competed on the track team and the cross country, correct? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about how that was for you.
Well, my brother actually competed the year before, and he did very well. He was the number one man. And I kept thinking, well, I've never lost to my brother in a race. I think I could beat him. But I had been out for almost 2 years and hadn't ran in 2 years. So I started slowly and came back, and about the third meet of the season, I ended up being the number one runner at the college. And I held that position for 2 years.
Okay. Now, let's talk about, Coach, the differences between cross country. I want to insert that right now so that our viewers can really see the path that the student athletes, once they decide they want to compete for either cross country or track and field, that there is a difference. And of course, cross country being a winter sport, run outdoors, track and field also could be indoors or outdoors. But let's talk about the cross country first.
Okay, cross country at the community college level, the women run 5,000 meters. The men run 4 miles. It's a little bit step up from high school. The high school, they run 3 miles, both men and women.
Okay.
And so we usually run at parks. Very few schools have a site that can hold a 3-mile course.
Oh, okay.
Mount Sac is one of them that can, and that's one of the big invitationals.
Okay. And cross country at the community college level is very competitive.
Very competitive.
Okay.
I've seen some top-level high school runners come in thinking, well, I'm going to run fast, and I'm going to do the same thing with the community college level. And they find out if they don't work hard or harder, they're not going to be at that level.
Okay. Now, when the call comes out for the athletes to come forward and try out, what time of the school year does that start? Is it right at the beginning in September, October?
Well, for cross country, our school starts usually last week of August, first week of September. Before that first week is done, we've already taken our physicals. So we usually do all our preparation as far as physicals, orientation, all the paperwork that alludes to getting on the cross-country team, probably in August.
Okay. And then to be accepted onto that team, might there be an equal number of male and female, or men and women?
They would like that. We had more women this year than we had men.
Okay.
So we did a really good job of recruiting women.
Okay.
Our athletic director was saying, we're not in compliance with Title IX, which is the equality between females and males.
Yes.
So we made a concerted effort to bring in more females.
Okay. And Coach, now let's go back a little bit more towards your resume, your curriculum here. Assistant coach at ELAC from 1988 to 1990, because as I mentioned, weaving in the history that you've had as a coach at ELAC, also as an athlete there, is very strong that I believe this job is made for you. So let's talk a little bit about the coaching experience there.
I believe it was. I started out coaching at Montebello High School, which is local. And I started out coaching actually prior to that, coaching my brother. He was looking for someone to help him. He was a freshman, I believe, in high school, and their team had 30 jumpers. He was a jumper.
Okay.
And they had one runway. And he said he sat there for 45 minutes and never got to jump.
Oh, my goodness.
So he asked if I could work with him after school when no one was there, and I said sure.
Okay.
And he became very successful, and part of that was just his drive to do well. And I just pointed him in the right direction. He did all the work.
Okay. But the coaching bug had already bitten you by then.
The bug hit me, and my sister asked me if I could coach her the following year, and I said, well, no. She goes, well, why not? I go, well, if I ask Rudy to do something, he'll do it. He won't question it.
Okay.
If I ask you to do it, you'll ask why, and you want a full conversation as to why you want me to do it. And at that time, I was working full-time nights.
Okay.
I had a family.
Sure.
I was married. So it was, it was difficult to
squeeze the time,
away.
put that
Right.
quality time. Coach, but continued on with your resume at Trade Tech. Then you came back to ELAC. Let's kind of talk about how that all happened and bring it right up to the current moment.
Well, when I was at Montebello, my women's team placed fourth in the first high school state championships for cross country.
Okay.
And I had 2 All-Americans on that team. So when East LA opened up their program, I was given a very good recommendation from Greg Ryan, who was a former coach at East Los Angeles College. And I interviewed for the position. I didn't receive it. But Tony Campbell, who received the position, came back and asked me, would you like to be my assistant coach? And I said, yeah, that's my dream job.
Okay.
So
All right.
he got me going in the community college level.
Okay. All right. And again, now some time at Trade Tech. And then
Trade Tech.
you came back to ELAC in 94, took some time off, and then 2010, right back into the thick of things at ELAC.
Trade Tech started my career in teaching.
Okay.
At East LA College, I was an assistant coach. I wasn't doing any teaching. I was still working nights. At Trade Tech, I got hired as a full-time substitute position, and eventually got the head coaching position and a full-time job there.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jim Brown was the one who brought me in. He was the athletic director
Oh, yes, at Trade
Tech, and he did a very good job of,
remember him.
Getting me that position and putting me in a position to succeed.
Okay.
Basically.
Coach, let's pause here just for a moment. And again, for our viewers, we're speaking to Louis Ramirez Jr. He is the head coach at cross country and at track and field for East LA Community College. And we're speaking about both sports, the cross country team and the track and field. And Coach, let's go back to freeze right now for cross country, because we want to get your recap of this past season. And we're going to look forward to bringing in the state champion that you coached this year, Laura Aceves, on our next segment. But talk about the cross-country success for ELAC this year.
Well, we started off a little bit slow. We had some issues with a couple of our male runners not being eligible because they didn't do their proper paperwork in a timely manner. So we lost about 8 individuals on that team. And the females are always on top of things.
Okay.
They got everything done, so I had a large female team.
Okay.
And, I happened to meet Laura while we were training during the summer.
Okay.
For 3 consecutive weeks, we were out there training at Legg Lake.
Okay.
And she was out there training also. And finally, the 3rd week, I go, you know what? Let me ask her if she wants to run for our team.
Interesting.
And we were fortunate. She was looking to go to school.
Okay.
And she was looking to continue with her running, and she thought it was a good idea. So we met at school on a Monday, and, everything seemed to work out well.
Okay.
It was a plus for her and a plus for us.
As they say, the everything was in alignment.
It was.
It was good to go, set to go, and off you went with the
Yeah.
cross-country team. And, Coach, in terms of the, again, the overall success by having a state champion, I'm not sure how the scoring is done versus track and field, but does that give a school or an institution the necessary points in terms of being a state titleist or first, second, or third? Is that how the state would work it?
Well, cross country is a unique sport in that it has individual scoring
Okay.
and it has team scoring.
Ah.
So our women's team didn't qualify as a team.
Oh,
We just had Laura qualify.
okay.
Whereas our men's team qualified to the state title as a team.
Oh, okay.
So we were really surprised because we had lost about 8 guys
Ah,
on our men's team, and we thought, well, we have some of our slower guys that are now part of our scoring team.
okay.
They score the first 5 runners on your team.
Okay.
And so they're a little bit farther back in the pack than we would have wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But they perform outstanding. They perform to their abilities, and some of them above their abilities.
Okay.
And they got us into the state meet, which
Okay.
was really surprising.
And at the end of the time frame for the season, or there accolades that came or rewards for the team?
Yes, actually, one of our young men on that team was all academic
Okay.
state team.
Good.
So Andrew Torres, he had a
Okay.
3.5
Wow.
or higher grade point average.
Okay.
So
Wonderful. Well, Coach, you're doing an outstanding job from our perspective. We want to thank you for bringing this to us. And we in our philosophy here at East LA Sports Scene, anything that is of East LA always takes a priority for us. And we have been working with the school in football and basketball. But thank you for producing and mentoring a state champion, because now we certainly have interest. And the attention will be focused on you also for track and field, but certainly because of the championship title, that's going to start us hopefully on a good relationship with you to cover Laura and also other athletes that are in the program. So with that, having said that, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to ask Laura Aceves to come in for segment 2, and then we're going to have Coach come back for our third segment, and we're going to wrap things up talking about the track and field prospects for this coming season. So don't go away. This is East LA Sports Scene bringing you track and field and cross country from East LA Community College with Coach Louis Ramirez Jr. and Laura Aceves coming right up. Don't go away. This is East LA Sports Scene. And continuing on with East LA Sports, and as we delve into the world of cross country and track and field, but mostly for cross country in this particular moment, because we're going to speak with our very own state champion representing East LA Community College, and here she is. This was her Laura Aceves. We're going to meet her just in a moment, but prior to that, this was the publicity that announced it on campus on the daily paper that comes out on campus called Campus News, and there it is right here. Husky wins state championship title, and it's our great honor and pleasure to introduce to our viewers Laura Aceves. Laura,
Hi.
how are you?
Good, and yourself?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for coming. As we were speaking about this huge event, it provoked us to really look more at the athletes and other sports at East LA College. So we're thankful that you and Coach Ramirez came tonight. But let's talk about your story. It's such a very successful, and now we think it's going to elevate you to a whole nother level with your career. But let's talk about how Coach Ramirez said for 3 weeks during the summer he saw you training, and what made everything come together.
I don't know. I used to train by my own, just for fitness, and I just got my GED on that time, and I was planning to go into college, and I don't know, the things came together, and I met Coach Ramirez there, and he offered me the opportunity to join the team at ELAC, so it was a perfect time for me.
Okay. Well, because looking a little bit about your biography, you have been running for at least 3 years. You're doing marathons.
Yeah,
And there's some other good notes here about your background in terms of the half Ironman and the triathlon. So is that where your passion and your love for running started?
Well, yeah, I started doing marathons, and then I was doing triathlons too. And not just the fact that I love to run, and the triathlons I have the run, so it's technically the same thing. And
Hmm.
that was it.
Okay. And prior to meeting Coach Ramirez, had someone ever, other than a personal trainer, maybe helped you to, get mentally
Right.
prepared? Because running is it seems easy,
Yeah.
but when you run for distance, it's very difficult. Tell us, where did that meeting come with someone that can really guide you in your career? Was it Coach Ramirez?
Well, before meeting Coach Ramirez, my boyfriend used to coach me.
Ah,
So he's been supporting me a lot.
uh-huh.
So through the training and during the marathon is when I became like mentally tough
Okay.
and physically stronger. But he's been supporting me a lot, and he was the one who helped me.
Okay.
Yeah. He's still
Good.
helping me.
Very, very good. Very good. Any support you can get is always, at the end of your competition, a big factor
Right.
in the success that you achieve. But let's now frame this together where Coach Ramirez makes the question, have you ever wanted to compete,
Yes.
say, for a school? And East LA
Absolutely.
College
Yeah.
seemed to be the fit. Tell us that story. How did you then go to the college and meet with Coach Ramirez to get started?
Well, I met Coach Ramirez, and then I just right away just enrolled into the college. He guided me with the persons who can help me to enroll into
Mhm.
college, and so we started the preseason on summer, and then after that I just enjoyed the team, and I started training.
Okay. And now, prior to going to school, were there other things you were doing that possibly part-time work or
Well, yeah,
working somewhere?
right.
And
I
then,
have a part-time
okay.
work
Oh.
on weekends, usually on weekends.
Okay. So to make that decision, did it disrupt a lot of that lifestyle for you to go from part-time to full-time school?
Well, it was hard
Uh-huh.
to adjust my work in school, and at first it was like, I tried to keep things together, and but it was very hard to be a student athlete full time and not have to work, still have to work.
Yes. And the reason I asked that is because many of the high school
Yeah.
athletes that are already doing cross country or track and field, it's just a normal progression for them to go from one to the next. But if there's a big break or you've never been in the formal school setting, that can be tough. It takes a lot of determination.
Yeah, it does.
So I wanted to stress that because for the viewers, the ladies that might be watching this who are marathoners or like yourself with the same profile, that there is opportunities at school.
Right, always.
Okay. Now, while you're in school now, what about, because you're a freshman,
Right.
and let's talk about your academics and your course of study that you decided to take.
Well, my major, I want to go for kinesiology and transfer 4 year. So I don't know yet where I'm going to go, but for sure, yeah, the 4 year.
Okay. Okay. And as a freshman now with a state championship title under your belt, so to speak,
Yeah.
that's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Coach Ramirez will be talking to you about those after next season, or possibly is there still time now for colleges, Division I or II or III? I don't know how many college programs have cross-country scholarships, but you certainly should be a candidate.
Yeah, I hope so, yeah.
And we know that in football, sometimes baseball and basketball, they talk to the coaches as well as talking to the athletes. And have there been any notifications yet or any?
No, not yet.
Oh,
No.
okay.
None.
All right. Now, as we mentioned earlier, just recently you said kinesiology,
Right.
and that's taking care of the body, so to speak.
Right. Mhm.
And also you want to get into coaching.
Yes, yeah, that'll be awesome. Oh, maybe physical therapy, athletic trainer, but I'm more likely for coach.
Okay. Now, Laura, let's go back and rewind the tape, so to speak, or at least the digital tape here, because this past season, as Coach Ramirez mentioned, after the registration and the filling out of all the paperwork, the season started.
Right.
And your expectations when you put the uniform for the East LA College Huskies on and competed. Start there and then we'll work our way up to the championship because it was a whole season before you got to the
Yeah.
finals. Let's talk about how that went.
Well, I was pretty excited. I was motivated, and I was in my head. I was like, "All right, this is for me. I'm living my dream. Like, okay, this is it. I have to take the opportunity and give it my best, and especially because he offered me the opportunity to be there and be part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
So that was only in my head to, all right, I'm going to do my best, and that's it. How is that?
Okay. And during the season, I believe it's like track meets, you have competitions, more than one opponent, sometimes 2 or 3, when you compete in the same course. Tell our viewers a little bit about, what I'm trying to get at is how those competitions start. And do you get there at a certain time to the course to warm up, and then the gun goes off, and then the runners are running, and then there's judges judging.
Yeah.
Tell our viewers a little bit about that so that those who want to maybe look into cross country have a mental idea.
Well, yeah. Well, usually we got there earlier, and then doing a warm up, a stretching, so we're gonna feel more comfortable once we're in the start, the start, and then so for that I feel pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel confident, a little bit nervous, but confident always.
Okay. And you know the distances you're going to be running, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And usually they range from, as Coach said, 5K?
5K and 10K.
Okay, and sometimes it depends on the course?
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. It depends on the course.
Okay. And competing for East LA College, would you be going to different parts of the Southland or different conferences to compete?
Yes, different conferences.
And how did you find those courses? Pretty good?
Yeah. They're good. They're different. Some of them have hills. Some of them are more flat. But yeah, they're good.
Okay. So if you're really a dedicated runner, it doesn't matter the obstacles that are in front of you,
Yeah,
whether there's
definitely.
curves, there's
Yeah.
drops, hills.
Right. I just
You-
focus on running.
Okay.
To run.
Now let's talk about the teammates. As Coach mentioned, predominantly ladies run across cross country, but there's also men, of course. Where is the chemistry for a team in cross country? Do you have certain times that you, other than working out, you may have studies together or just do social things together?
Well,
as a
yeah.
team?
I love my teammates. Yeah, they're pretty nice guys and girls, and we always see together at the college. We study together. We have lunch together, so we came along pretty well.
Okay. All right. And let's see. I also wanted to cover the fact that you are in the footsteps, maybe not in the immediate footsteps, but in the historical footsteps of another East LA College Husky, Lady Husky, who did very well for herself in cross country and track and field. And we mentioned the name of Sylvia Mesquita. And she was a state champion as well, I believe, in 1984.
Yeah.
So you're in very good company, and I think she
Yeah.
also went on to be in the Olympic trials. And one of the things that I wanted to ask, if you don't mind, is the question of possibly the 2016 Olympics, either representing Mexico or possibly United
Yes.
States. The Olympic dream is what I'm really asking here. Have you thought of that?
Yeah, thought of that, but for now I just focus on doing my best. But yeah, I haven't let it back on my head. Of course, yes.
Okay, I'm sure you'll be speaking with Coach Ramirez in depth about that because I'm very positive at least Mexico would make an inquiry about you because now this is very, very big news. And being the state champion, you automatically, from what I understand, become All-American.
Right.
So there's another another accolade for you there. But now, take us, if you don't mind, Lord, in the time we have left here, to that state championship meet. Your thoughts on that day, because you had to travel. It was Fresno, correct?
Right. Correct. Yeah.
A lot of time to think
Yes.
and prepare.
Right.
And then meeting with Coach and then looking at the field.
Right.
Your thoughts and kind of recapture that moment for us.
Well, I was excited. I was mentally prepared for it. I was physically prepared for it. I was thinking, all right, I've been training for this day, and I'm ready for it. And that was my thinking, and I was trying to relax and meditate, and that's how I did it.
Okay, so mentally you had already run the race, so
Yes,
you've
before.
done it several ways. And we understand your competitor, you were pretty much within the strides of each other.
Yeah. Correct.
At what point might you have gotten a signal from Coach Ramirez to, as they would say, turn on the jets
Right.
to finish the race and win? Do those kinds of things happen because you're out there on your own
Right.
as a competitor, an individual competitor, but there's a lot of things happening. Anything that you remember from that race
Well,
that gave you that final, I'm going to do it?
right. Well, before the race, I was mentally prepared for it. I visualized myself doing the sprint on the last 100 meters. So I think on the race, just my body knew what to do. And on the last 100 meters, just step on, and so I won.
Okay.
Yeah.
And might we ask who was in the receiving area? Might have been, of course, Coach Ramirez
Coach
and
Ramirez,
teammates, some
my
other...
teammates, Ruby and Lupe, my boyfriend, my family.
Oh,
So
good.
it was awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Very good, yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's see. There's just one other question I wanted to ask. The triathlon or the triathlete and the half Ironman. We see sometimes on TV those sports, and they're very grueling, very hard.
Yes.
But you've challenged it. Do you do that on a yearly basis, and then also the marathons? I think Long Beach Marathon.
Long Beach Marathon.
Talk about that mindset that you have to do those kinds of events, because they're different from cross country.
Yeah, the training is completely different. For the marathon, is just focus on the endurance, and for 5K, I think it's just working on the speed. And for marathon, it takes a lot of mentally be prepared for it.
Okay.
And it's the same thing for the triathlon.
Okay. All right. Last question before we have a break, and we're going to bring Coach back. But your family from Mexico, can we ask a little bit about them? And is mom and dad or the family members here? Yeah, talk about them. I know they have to be very important.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah.
Okay.
They're very important to me. They've been supporting me since then. My mom, she's like really there in the races, and it feels good that they're proud of me, and they're there always for me.
Okay. And what part of Mexico can we ask?
Oh, Guadalajara.
Oh,
From Guadalajara.
wow.
Mexico.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, that will, I think, bring our segment to a close. We're going to have Coach Ramirez come back in a moment, but we want to thank you for sharing your ideas, your just the whole fact of how you prepared, and you are now the state champion in women's cross country for the entire state of California, and representing not only yourself and your family, but East LA Community College, and Huskies win state championship title. Speaking with Laura Aceves, we're going to be back here with Coach Luis Ramirez Jr. in just a moment to wrap things up here on this edition of East LA Sports Scene. Don't go away. We will be right back. And welcome back. Here we are now with Coach Luis Ramirez Jr. and Laura Aceves, our state champion, representing East LA Community College. And Coach, we were talking to Laura, as you noticed from the audience, and we try to get her mindset about that moment in time, about the competition. But I'm sure she wanted to give us blow-by-blow detail, but it didn't work out as we planned. But certainly you as a coach can tell us that day who the competitor was, because she was very high profile. And talk about how Laura stood up to that challenge and won the race.
Well, Laura ran at the Southern Cal preview meet back in, I believe, September, and it basically highlighted all the females or top females in Southern California.
Okay.
And Laura placed 7th in that race.
Oh, okay.
And but she came back with some weaknesses she knew.
Okay.
And so she goes, hey, we need to work on this. And I go, okay, well, we haven't hit that part of our training yet. So we'll get there. And then we ran at the Mount Sac Invitational, and the top young lady from up north came down, and she had been undefeated all season long and didn't disappoint. She ended up beating Laura by almost 30 seconds.
Oh.
So she was for real. She was not a a young lady, because they were running short courses,
okay.
and she was running incredible times. She was running 1640s for 2.9 miles, which is incredibly fast.
And she was from up north.
College of Sequoias,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yesenia Silva.
Okay. Wow.
And so we knew that was the competition. And, you know, I had to figure out how to get Laura to improve 30 seconds over the next month and a half. And, you know, we had to put it in her mindset that that could be done also.
Oh, very good. Very good. Okay. Now, Coach, we also mentioned at the top of the show that you are a dual sided coach, a sport coach, because you also have track and field.
Yes.
That happens to be a spring sport.
Yes.
Okay. And so now preparations are underway for track and field. But before we do that, Coach, tell us a little bit about Laura's recent award that just came out.
Well, the California Community College Athletic Association voted Laura Aceves Athlete of the Month of November for her wins at the South Coast Conference Finals, the Southern California Finals, and, of course, the state championship.
Oh, wonderful.
And this goes amongst all the athletes in the fall sports.
Okay,
from
wonderful.
California.
Wonderful. Okay, Laura, we're going to ask you a question now, turning the page to the next chapter for track and field. Your thoughts on preparing for the track and field season?
Yeah, I'm preparing for it, yes.
Okay.
I'm doing the 5,000 and 10,000.
Okay, and that is a very, very difficult, I would say, two events that are very difficult, very hard.
Yes.
Will the training increase a little bit more to the next level?
Yeah, I believe so, yes. Going to increase because the tank is, it is more distance to cover, so.
Okay, and have you had some trials in terms of getting your times to know what you're going to have to come in at?
Yeah, we're going to do some trial tests to see where am I.
Okay. Now, Coach, I'll ask you to answer this question then, if I can, for the call out to the track and field athletes at ELAC. Is that going out just as it would go to the cross country?
Yes, the month of January is when we're starting to train for track and field. And actually, we have our orientation between January 6th and 8th, and we have to get online to set up for that orientation.
Okay.
And then we have our physicals on the 13th of January.
Okay.
Now, that's part of the paperwork we have to do prior to the season.
Okay.
We talked about that in cross country. Some people missed it.
Oh.
And there are deadlines. If we don't meet these deadlines, they're not eligible to compete.
Okay. And the plan for right now, the team plan or the individual plan for Laura at the 5 and 10K, how are you approaching that right now?
Well, you know, Laura's untapped. We don't know what she can do. We're going to have her run as many different events to find out where her capabilities are. Ideally, you know, state champion in cross country, which is 3.1 mile, 5,000 meters, would lend well to the 5,000 meters, which is 3.1, and probably the 10,000, which is 6.2 miles.
Okay.
But she wants to give a try to the steeplechase. She definitely wants to run the 1,500 meters, which is a lot faster, but she has a lot of leg speed. It's going to be interesting.
Okay. Then, Laura, one more question about that, if you don't mind. Would the training have to be, as I mentioned, increased a little bit to get those muscles in tune for the quicker races?
Yes, it is more speed workouts for the 5,000 and the 15,000. So yeah.
Okay, so your diet was going to be very critical.
Yeah. I try to pay attention to my diet and to try healthy, be well rested, and stay focused on training in school.
Okay, and then for strength, would there be possibly, I don't want to say weightlifting, but resistance training?
Yeah, Coach
maybe?
just mentioned that we plan to do some weights for January, so it's going to help us to be powerful for that.
Okay, and then one last question about the team. Might some of the other teammates from the cross country also join you at these events in track and field.
Right. Yes, the team is enjoying the track and field. Yes.
So you will have a internal
Right.
competitor
Yes,
to keep
of
pushing you.
course. Right. Mhm.
Okay. All right. Coach, then let's talk a little bit about the schedule, the meet schedule. Can we program something into our cycle here to maybe come and see the track and field team?
Yes, we just recently got our schedule together. We had a meeting December 6th with the coaches from Southern California
Okay.
to find out what meets are available and what the dates were,
Okay.
the exact times and everything. So we've given it to our secretary, and she should be putting it up on our website pretty soon.
Okay, and Coach, in the time that we have left in our first segment with you, you mentioned two gentlemen, Tony Campbell and Greg Ryan,
Yes.
who are going to be instrumental in one of the functions or events coming up. Can you talk a little bit about that, or at least in their past with the school?
Yes. What happens, we have a Hall of Fame banquet coming up.
Okay.
We've contacted a new number of alumni, outstanding athletes
Mm-hmm.
in their right when they were at East Los Angeles College. It's going to be January 7th at the foyer of the auditorium.
Oh, right there. Okay, on campus.
It's $30. We're going to recognize Sylvia Mesquita for
Oh.
her outstanding work at
Wow.
East Los Angeles College.
Okay.
We're also
Oh,
going to
nice.
recognize James Butts, who was a 1976 Olympic silver medalist
Okay.
and American record holder in the triple jump.
Wow.
So we've had some really nice, really great athletes.
Okay.
Floyd Jeter, which I believe was one of our first state champions in the high jump.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
Ketchaturian, who was the national champion before they had a state championship. So came
Okay.
out of East Los Angeles College and out of Garfield High School. So we're really excited about this.
Okay. Usually when we wrap up our interviews, Coach, I always want to give our guests an opportunity to have a final say and a final comment to our viewers. So, Laura, if you wouldn't mind speaking possibly to some of the damas, las chicas, the students maybe in high school who may be interested in following you or looking to see you compete. And as a role model, you know how that is with our folks.
Yes.
They like to see others that are doing very, very well. So if you would like to do that.
How can I say? Just to follow your dreams, that nothing is impossible. Stay focused on training, stay focused on school, and always do your best. And that's all I can say. Yeah.
Okay, and listen to the coaches and your family. That's part of the
Right.
importance of
yeah,
your support group, right?
Exactly, my team, to always help my teammates and always listen to my coach and to do what he says. And yeah.
Okay. Well, we're certainly going to put you on the calendar. And again, Coach, I forgot to mention the meets, or to ask you where the meets will be held, so we can come out and put some support behind Laura and some of the other athletes as well. Anything that, obviously, there will be no meets at the college itself, correct?
Correct. We do not have the throwing facilities at our college.
Okay.
But we will be competing at Mount Sac, hopefully at the state championships.
Okay.
Pasadena Relays will be out there, I believe, in March.
Oh, okay.
And we have a tri-meet against Orange Coast College on March 7th. So
Okay.
we have a full schedule set up. We'll be
Okay.
at the Occidental meet for the distance runners and the Benny Brown Invitational over at Fullerton College
Okay.
for the sprinters, high jumpers, hurdlers,
Okay.
and throwers.
Okay. So just mainly try to follow by going to the website to
Yes.
maybe see the schedule.
Yes.
Okay, Coach, I also offer you that final message to our viewers.
Well, without Lauda, we wouldn't be here. So definitely have to thank her, first of all. Mario Villegas, who I've known since college,
Okay.
he used to write articles about us
Sure.
when we were running, and I still have them. It's a long time ago.
Yes.
And Rico, thank you for the opportunity of, having our team and our young
Yes.
ladies showcase.
Oh, you're more than welcome, Coach. The first time, but not the last time. That's
Correct.
one of our mottos. Once we begin to follow the athletes, it's done with a lot of good intentions and just passion to follow the athletes, to see them do well and be very successful. Because, as I mentioned earlier, we never know who's watching, and if we reached 1, 2, 3, or 4 potential athletes that may want to be coming to your program, Coach, they now know where to go and who to see. So it's very important.
And one of the things we really stress is our academics, and we have a new president, and he's very academic oriented.
Okay.
He's pro sports also, which is really helping our athletic director do the things he needs to do to succeed. And Al Cohn has been very helpful in our endeavors and getting us to succeed, to be at a state meet early, so Lauda can acclimate to the area, to
wonderful.
the conditions, and she didn't have to rush through things, which was a godsend. It was
Okay. All right, Coach. One other calendar event I wanted to get in before we sign off here, and that would be the golf tournament. And I'm not sure if you know a lot of the particulars about that as well. Could you?
Yes, we have a golf tournament January 7th, and a lot of actually January 6th, Monday, and the proceeds will help benefit the athletes at East Los Angeles College.
Okay.
Mr. Cohen has done an awful lot of work in preparing this thing and giving us an opportunity to raise funds for our teams.
Okay. And I understand from what when Mario mentioned it to me at the basketball game, Supervisor Gloria Molina.
Yes, we're going to honor Gloria Molina.
Okay.
She's done a lot of things for our community. I can't even, count them.
And alumni, some
And
distinguished
from
alumni
East
too.
Los Angeles
as well.
College, correct.
Okay. So 6 and 7 back to back on the 6th of golf
Correct.
tournament, benefit golf tournament, and then the 7th, the Hall of Fame.
Correct.
So you're going to be busy, Coach. In
Definitely.
in just a couple of
And-
more weeks.
And Laura has stepped up her goals for next year for
Okay.
track and field. So,
Okay.
we're going to try to accomplish that also.
All right. Well, we want to wish Lauda the best of everything and the success in your continued career at East LA College. Coach Luis Ramirez Jr., thank you so much for coming down and telling us the story. We hope we've started it. And it's not finished. It's just in progress. It's a work in progress. We want to thank again also Mario Villegas for giving us lots and lots of information on all sports at East LA College and keeping us informed as he always has done these past 10 years that I've known him. And also to our technical director, Eric Sarney, camera operator for East LA Sports Scene, and on my behalf, Rico Cabrera. We want to wish all of you the best in this holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Feliz Navidad, y un próspero año nuevo. We'll see you in the year 2014 in just several more weeks. So thanks for watching this edition, and continue to support all of our schools, high schools, colleges, the athletes, and the programs, because they're so important to our community. Above all, for our students and families, and just everyone in general who has a stake for the sports programs here in East Los Angeles and Boyle Heights and beyond. Thanks for watching again. We'll see you in 2014. Take care. See you soon.
Run them. Run them.